Sad to say, not even one member of the Senate, seeing the state saddling itself with this disgrace, saw fit to protest and to oppose such proceedings, though they would all have to fall down before her, as if she were a goddess. There was not even one priest who showed any disgust, and that when they would be obliged to address her as mistress. And the people who had previously watched her performances in the theater instantly thought fit to be in fact in name her groveling slaves. Nor did one soldier resent being called on to face danger on the battlefield for Theodora's benefit, nor did any other living person oppose her. All of them, I imagine, were subdued by the thought that this was the fate assigned to them, and accordingly lifted no finger to prevent this revolting state of affairs, as though fortune had given a demonstration of her power. For, as she controls all human affairs, it is a matter of complete indifference to her that what is done shall be justifiable, or that men shall feel that there was reason behind what has happened already. Suddenly, by an unreasoning display of power, she uplifts to a lofty eminence a man who seems to have been entangled hitherto in one difficulty after another. She offers no resistance to anything on earth that he takes in hand, and all things conspire to hurry him along to whatever goal she has seen fit to choose for him, while all mankind stand back without hesitation and make way for fortune as she goes ahead. But we must leave it to God to decide how these things shall be and how they shall be spoken of. As for Theodora, she had an attractive face and a good figure, but was short and pallid, though not in an extreme degree, for there was just a trace of color. Her glance was invariably fierce and intensely hard. If I were to attempt a detailed account of her life upon the stage, I could go on for the rest of time. But the few incidents picked out for inclusion in the preceding paragraphs should be enough to give a complete picture of this woman's character for the enlightenment of those yet to come. Now we must sketch the outlines of what she and her husband did in unison, for neither did anything apart from the other to the end of their joint lives. For a long time, it was universally believed that they were exact opposites in their ideas and interests. But later, it was recognized that this false impression had been deliberately fostered to make sure that their subjects did not put their own differences aside and rebel against them, but were all divided in their feelings about them. They began by creating a division between the Christians, and by pretending to take opposite sides in religious disputes, they split the whole body in two, as will shortly be made clear. Then they kept the factions at loggerheads. The Empress made out that she was throwing her full weight behind the Blues, and by extending to them full authority to assail the opposite faction, she made it possible for them to disregard all restrictions and perform outrageous deeds of criminal violence. Her husband replied by behaving as if he were boiling over with bottled-up resentment, but was unable to stand up to his wife overtly. And often they confounded the character of their authority and went opposite ways. He, for instance, was determined to punish the Blues as criminal offenders, while she, in synthetic rage, would complain bitterly that she had yielded to her husband under protest, and yet the Blue partisans, as I said before, seemed to be the most orderly, for they were quite satisfied that it was quite unjustifiable to go to the limit in doing violence to one's neighbors. Again, In the bitter animosities aroused by lawsuits, each of the two appeared to be backing one of the litigants, and it was so arranged that victory should go to the one who championed the unjust cause, and that, in this way, the two of them should purloin most of the wealth of both contestants. Finally, many were included in this emperor's list of intimate friends, and raised to positions which enabled them to violate the laws and commit offenses against the state to their heart's content. But as soon as it was evident that they had made their pile, they promptly came into collision with Theodora and found themselves in her bad books. At first, Justinian was perfectly prepared to declare himself their enthusiastic supporter. But later on, his sympathy for the poor fellows would dry up, and his zeal on their behalf would become very uncertain. That would be the signal for his partner to damage them beyond recovery, while he, shutting his eyes tight to what was going on, opened his arms to receive their entire possessions, thus shamelessly acquired. In practicing these tricks, they invariably collaborated, though in public they acted as if they were at daggers drawn. Thus they succeeded in dividing their subjects, and in so strengthening their hold that it could never be shaken off.